Welcome to Creative or Dead, a podcast about living a creative life.
We're your hosts, Alicia Callahan
And David Constantine.
Come with us as we interview all sorts of people about their creative practice.
Hi, Alicia.
Hi, David.
We've just spoken to Sarah Ellison, who is a creative, capital C creative. She's an entrepreneur. She's been a brand builder and currently is running her eponymous studio, Sarah Ellison Creative in Byron Bay. Wide-ranging conversation and a real creative polymath. What did you take from the conversation?
Yeah, look, this is such a great interview. Sarah's very open about hitting creative burnout, about learning to trust her instincts as she's been growing and sort of learning as a creative. She's very intuitive with what she does as well. And I think this is an episode that's just like very much, she's a creative's creative, I think I say at the end. And yeah, we talk process and delivery and sensory delights and all of the above. But yeah, what stood out to you?
Oh, look, I think just the role that her formative years had in finding her creative voice. I won't say too much more than that. People can listen in, but it is a real example of the foundation that you can have set up and the path that it creates for you creatively.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Hope you enjoy.
Hello, Sarah Ellison. Welcome to Creative or Dead.
Thank you. So happy to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
Love hearing your voices. Love talking to you.
Thank you.
Well, we're very excited to have you on the podcast because you have had a really beautiful, winding, creative career, if I do say so. I was doing some research before jumping on and just to refresh a few things that I already knew about you. But you studied fashion, you went into the media world as an interior stylist, you started a furniture brand, and now you are an all-round creative. So I guess, for our listeners, can you sort of introduce yourself and give us a bit of your backstory?
Yeah. I'm Sarah Ellison. I guess I would just call myself a creative director. You know, like there's so many different titles you can give yourself, and ultimately, the way that I see myself as a creative and a designer is I feel like I could lend my hand to anything, you know? And I guess that's why I've had such a winding path, because I've always felt like I have a point of view, and it's sort of that idea of how can I put my stamp on whatever I'm doing. So I did start in fashion in East Sydney, TAFE, which was sort of the beginning of my creative career. And from there, I was working. I started a little fashion label. I had a label for a couple of years, did that at the Bondi Markets. And then we got Inku was our first retailer. So we sort of got into the fashion world, which was cool.
That's a big get.
I know it was. But the funny thing is, this is a long time ago, Alicia. This is like 20 years ago, 20 years ago. So Inku had just started. Inku was a small, I think they maybe had one store in Paddington, but still a big get. We're still very proud of ourselves for getting into Inku. But this was sort of pre-social media, obviously, and the fashion world was very different. It was really hard to work in a full-time job and then have a sort of side gig as which was the fashion label. So I just kind of struggled with that for a couple of years, trying to make ends meet, and I don't know, just couldn't quite grasp how I could make it work, and it kind of felt it just wasn't time. And while I was doing that, I was also working in interiors store in retail and doing sort of visual merchandising and all that sort of stuff. When I was there, I met all of the stylists that would come into the store and ended up assisting. So I assisted for 3 or 4 years. Actually loved assisting because you're around you're around everything
Uh,
that's happening, you're around the process and you're watching it all happen, but you kind of don't hold all of the responsibility, So I really loved assisting. Lots of good memories, multiple kilometres in my little Suzuki Swift all over Sydney picking up props.
Oh man. The
Yeah.
schlepping.
The schlepping, the
Yeah.
schlepping. It's a young person's game because honestly now I just don't think I could do it. I just don't. It's exhausting,
physical,
absolutely
yeah.
exhausting.
Mm.
But in that, you learn, so you get so many contacts and you're just learning so much about all of the stores, all of the levels from sort of, production to retail to PR to marketing. You're really meeting all of these different types of people, which was an education and one that I still feel like I'm sort of gaining from today. And, I didn't grow up in Sydney either. So it was very important for me to sort of build all those connections in Sydney. And then I got the job at Real Living and I was a style editor there for 7 years. And that was a really, really happy, exciting time in my career, working in media.
I feel like that would have
working in
been the heyday of magazines.
It was
as
the
well.
heyday. It was kind of the end of the heyday.
Yeah.
It was sort of just before social media kicked in and everything changed. And Real Living was definitely having a heyday. So I was at a really good time. We had a wonderful editor, great team. And it was just one of those incredible creative synergies where everybody just clicks and gets on, and you've got all of the right people in the right places and it just clicks. And then you're just building this on this amazing kind of thing. So, yeah, that was an incredible 7 years there.
You would have had
Exhausting.
budgets though. Like I
We
think
had
that's
budget. We did have
that's the
budgets
thing with
actually. We did.
magazines.
Yeah, to be transparent, I reckon we probably spent 15 grand every shoot that we did. And that'd be each issue. We'd spend maybe 2 big shoots, so 15, 30 grand per issue on shoots.
Yeah. But that's how you make magic.
I know, exactly. Great photographers, big studios, set builds. But saying that, like the schlep, I was a stylist, but I was also a set designer, a creative director, an art director, so you're that one person with multiple hats. But that's what I guess made me who I am today, I think, is sort of getting a taste of all of those different things and working out which ones excite me and fill my cup and that I'm good at. So yeah, magazine world was fun and exciting. Yeah. And so many good contacts, like I said before, in marketing and PR, because as a creative, it's wonderful and you can create things, but then you also need to be able to sell them. And then you also need the publicity.
To amplify it.
Yeah. So those contacts are just as important as all the other ones as well.
So then you left Magazine Land. Is it I think because you had your son, is that right?
I did, yes. So like the schlepping, the exhaustion, it just was not conducive to any sort of family life. So I was sort of quietly plotting, thinking, oh, I've got to kind of get out. I've got to get out of this or sidestep to some degree. I designed a sort of a wallpaper collection while I was at Real Living, and that did quite well. And I thought, this product business could be good. I feel like with my fashion background, I'd always wanted to create product. So yeah, I met a friend in PR and we sort of, had this idea about a business. We weren't quite sure what it was going to be. But from my experience, I was sort of like, oh God, there's just at that time, it's 2016 probably, there wasn't any good mid-range furniture brands in Australia. It was very much, your IKEAs, which is great, love IKEA. It has its place, your Freedoms, those sorts of brands. And then you had those incredible high-end brands that I was working with, the $20,000 sofas and, $10,000 dining tables. And I just sort of thought, there's something in this. Like, why can't I get this beautifully designed, cool directional stuff at a reasonably affordable price point? So when we first started, we did partner with a retailer, and we piggybacked off of their sort of production and factories and things like that. And then we were like, you know what, I think we can do this ourselves. And that's sort of when we kicked off our own production in Indonesia and started the brand. Yeah,
And how much, like, so the brand was Sarah Ellison.
it was originally
Yeah.
Sarah Ellison. I have since stepped away from the brand in the last sort of year or so. I've been slowly sort of edging away to create my own little studio, which is here in Byron Bay. And so the brand has become Ellison Studios, and it is continuing to do all that it's done. We had, incredible success with it, and incredible success in the US as well, with an unbelievable retailer there. And I have stepped away to sort of enjoy all of the work that I put in for the last, 25 years as a creative, and, just try and build a new business that's a bit more sustainable for me and my family. And yeah, maybe just work. I mean, I kind of look at my career now as sort of what happens for the next 15 years, like I'm 50 next year. So it's like, what does that look like? What do those 15 years look like? And I feel like I've slogged it out for long enough. So
You put in the hard yards.
I put in the hard yards, and I want it, like, when do I get to it? Like, really enjoy it and be present with it all. So now I'm just at the stage where we built a beautiful little space here in Byron, and sharing it with an architect friend who I collaborate with quite frequently, Studio Plenty. And it's very nice because I haven't shared a space. I've been working from home for a really long time. So it's really nice to be sort of have a bit of it's not my team necessarily, but just to have people and other designers around me. And hoping to work on a lot of collaborations. I've got a couple of those in the pipeline, a textiles collection, which has always been a dream of mine. That should be launching sometime next year. A bathroom collection with a bathroom company.
Oh, wow. Is that like taps and...
Taps, baths, basins.
Yeah, nice.
All that sort of stuff. Yep. And I think I'll just go more in a direction of sort of surfaces again. I have done tiles in the past. I'll go back to do more tiles, things like that, wallpapers, all those sorts of interior products. And then continue sort of more custom design and more furniture design, but sort of try and keep it as local as I can. So slower pieces designed with, I know sustainability is a bit of a buzzword, but as sustainable as possible is what I'd like to do. And also working in some biomaterials, which is really exciting. Yeah. That's something I'm really excited about. There's lots happening.
Yeah, I mean, this current iteration is really the all encapsulated, creative. Like, your new business is called Sarah Ellison Creative. Is that right?
Yeah,
so you really are the definition of a creative.
Yeah, I think I am. I mean, that's how I make sense of my world. Is to call myself a creative, like I think that creativity to me is very much like me making sense of the way that my brain works and the way that I want to live my life.
It sounds as though in the retelling of your story as well, the different iterations or phases that you've gone through, your creative voice has been very clear, has been very defined as to who you are and what you want to say. Some people take time to find that. It feels like, from what you've just told us, that formed relatively early for you. You knew what you wanted to do when you were going into that art director, set designer, prop stylist.
Do you know what, David? I don't know if I knew. It was almost like it's so innate in me as a kind of a human being. There's nothing else. It is my absolute calling. Do you know? Like there's no other way. it's not like, oh, I might try doing something else. I might try being I don't know, whatever, but there isn't that this is it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Did that come from somewhere? Was that modeled in your early years, as to have that confidence in your voice and what you bring?
Um, well, yeah, I guess it was actually. Like, I grew up in Margaret River in Western Australia in a really beautiful, small, quiet coastal town. Um, I mean, I guess in some ways you could kind of describe it as like a utopia. Like I'm not saying it was, but like my parents and I think our community were creating that utopia because they were sort of the surf culture from the 60s and 70s. And so they moved to this small coastal town with incredible surf and nobody there, right? So they're living this utopian dream, growing vegetables, surfing, just living a beautiful kind of simple life. But creativity was very much not ingrained per se. It wasn't ever looked at like you could have a creative career or anything like that. It was more just ingrained in the everyday. Like everybody had really creative houses. You put a lot of creativity into your house, how you built it. You built it with your own hands. And it was that era where everything was sort of made out of local timbers and, Jarrah was our local timber. So all the houses are Jarrah and it's gorgeous. And, I don't know. I just feel like, the upbringing for me, my mum was really creative. She was really good at sewing. We would go to Bali every year on holiday because from Western Australia, Bali's like a 3-hour trip, right? So you can go a couple of times a year on a family holiday. And, she'd buy sarongs and saris and she'd be making cushions. And so a couple of times a year, there'd be a whole change of cushions in the house and she'd reupholster everything. And at one stage we had, these gold flags flying outside the house. And, I don't know. I do feel like my upbringing instilled a sort of creative freedom, I guess you could call it.
Well, it's a powerful thing, when you realize, or you have modeled for you, that there actually aren't the barriers that maybe we put in front of ourselves. You can make clothes, you can make furniture, you can make things for the home. This is possible. This is not something that someone else does, particularly if there's no job titles associated to it as well. It's just the way that things are. That's pretty powerful as a
I actually feel
starting
like
point.
This is like a therapy session. I'm like, yes, you're so
the idea.
right. I mean, I've never thought about it like that. Like, you're so right. Like, the freedom of that, like, I always look at it a bit like, God, no one ever told me I could have gone to uni and done this. No one ever told me I could have studied to become a creative director or whatever. But like from what you just said, the freedom of the way I've sort of, woven my career, I guess, comes from the fact that wasn't part of it. I think that's so nice. Yeah.
I also
It's
love
amazing.
the fact you grew up in a beachy surfside place and now you live in Byron, just on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah, totally. I was actually born here. I was born in Byron
Were
Bay.
you? Oh, nice.
Yeah, because my mum's from this area. And that's sort of how I ended up back here is that, I grew up in WA, but because my mum's family were here, I ended up back here as well. But this sort of felt like the best place to come where I knew that there was other creatives, there was entrepreneurs. It was an hour from Sydney. I still really felt like I could continue my career and have a business and continue to do the things that I want to do because going back to WA, it's still too hard. It's too far. It's too isolated. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm interested, one of the lines that I see that you've used in describing your creative practice is the intersection of past and present. I'd love you to talk a little bit about what that means to you and how it manifests.
I guess for me, that's sort of the alchemy of all of the things I love and how they come together. Because, sort of conceptualizing or designing a piece of furniture, for instance, I often look to the past, but I don't want it to look like something, and there's so much of it around at the moment where they've gone and got a 70s sofa, ripped it off, and, and it's a product, right? But of course you want to be inspired by all of that, but you don't want it to be sort of you want it to be a version, but a version for the future. So I guess it's that sort of fine point that I try and find where I'm, being inspired by the past, but I still want it to be sort of classic enough to last and have longevity as well. So there's a lot that goes, not a lot that goes into it, but a lot of thought, I guess, and a lot of my process is sort of going, oh, it's cool and it's 70s inspired, but it's still too 70s. It needs to be more modern. How can we clean these lines or take out these certain way we've treated the fabric to make it feel more contemporary?
And do you find the end point through the execution rather than maybe planning it all to the nth degree and then executing?
Yeah, it's the process. It's all in the process. It's lots of iterations, at every stage. Sort of like, I would start with sketches and there's a million iterations in my sketching process. And then once I see something that quite often if I do 10 million sketches or doodles or whatever you want to call them, something will just keep appearing. Like there'll be a certain theme and I'm like, that just keeps popping up. Each time I draw this, there's this little shape of an arm or there's a little foot or something that just keeps appearing. And then once I go, okay, so this is the winner. This is the direction we're going in. And then from there, I'll put it in SketchUp. I'm not an industrial designer. I wasn't trained in industrial design. So I just use very basic modeling in SketchUp. And then I move it on to my industrial designer. And then we do a bunch of versions in that process. And then once we move it on to sort of our factory or our workshop or whoever's we're working with, there's a bunch of decisions made in that process as well. So each time it's sort of just tweaking until you get to a point where you're happy. You're not always happy.
I was going to say, you ever fully happy?
I'm never happy. Like I'm never happy at the time, but then I can look back on things and go, that was actually really good. But it's kind of like a 3 to 5 year process before I can go, that's actually really good. That was good.
A bit of distance works wonders.
Some distance, yeah. Because by the end of that process, you're like, I actually hate it. I'm so sick of it.
I had this conversation with someone recently, like, because with the magazines, like I would get a copy of the magazine, I'm up to round 15, round 20, staring at every page to get it to print. And by the time it would arrive, I'm like, I do not want to look at it anymore.
Yeah, I know. You just over it. Just go away. Just be done with you.
Yeah.
Not just for fear of a typo, Alicia.
Well, yeah. There's always that.
Any print job that goes out of the studio, I can't look at it for weeks afterwards, just in case because I will be the one to open it and find a typo somewhere or something that wasn't quite done right.
I mean, a typo is a typo, but I mean, have you ever made a mistake with a fundamental flaw in anything you've designed?
Oh, yes, we have. But that you can change that they're changeable.
Like in the next run or something.
Yeah, that's the good thing about sort of production runs in furniture. You continually are sort of perfecting it, making it better, using better materials, and it just kind of keeps evolving and evolving. So you don't get too stuck with your mistakes.
That's good. You've mentioned some collaborations. I'm quite interested. Like you're working with different mediums and different brands and different collaborators. I imagine that your process is it the same every time, or does it change depending on who you're working with?
I mean, I guess it changes. It changes, how you're working. I guess it would be different collaborating with someone. I mean, you're bringing a lot more people into the process, which is always interesting. No, look, honestly, I actually think it is, for me, it's always those iterations. It's always going to start with sketching. It's almost like the sketches for me are almost a way of kind of my brain and my hands and everything, just kind of getting it all ingrained into my body. And I don't know.
Sounds intuitive, and I know that's something you've described your work as.
Intuitive. Yeah. It's very intuitive. Yeah. There's a right way, and I feel it. I can feel it in my gut or in my and if I'm inspired by something, I'm like, oh, I can, you almost get a little like tingles. It's like, oh yeah, and I know that we're onto something. I can feel this. This feels good. This feels right.
Has that gotten better with time? Do you think like you notice it quicker?
Yes. Yeah. I think as I've gotten older and I've gotten to know myself better, I'm more aware of myself and I'm more aware of, when things feel right. But there's also all that experience as well, finally paying off.
Yeah.
After all those years, it's like, oh, you know what? I really do think I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah, getting the hang of it.
Getting the hang of this thing.
Totally.
Because
Well,
and it's also an insecure part of your creative energy,
Yeah.
right? Like that's
Yeah.
so like questioning everything all the time. Like,
Yeah.
is
The
it
bit that
good
always
enough?
wants to start again with every new project.
Yeah. Like you're only
Yeah.
as good as your last thing. You're only as good as your last project.
Yeah. I don't know. I might out that because I've carried that with me on my shoulder for 25 years now as well. And I think that might be crap. I think it could be.
Really?
I reckon when you've been doing it enough times, you could
Yeah.
you could possibly have a dud every now and then, as long as you learn from it.
Yeah.
But who can do that? We give ourselves these gilded cages to work within, and surely real creativity has to sit at the edge, right? Like maybe this could not work. Maybe this is going to be embarrassing, but it's worth it.
Yeah, totally. I think if you become too sure of yourself,
Indeed,
you rest on your laurels.
You're not-
You get complacent.
yeah, and I don't think you're doing your best work anymore.
no, indeed.
The day that I go, this is actually amazing. You're doing so good. Like I think I should give up.
Yeah.
So then what is that inner monologue like? I hope it's not too harsh on yourself.
Oh, it can be. No, it can be for sure. Like I do struggle with that. And I think as I've gotten older, I've just learned to be kinder to myself and not be as reactive and not be as sort of, I definitely have learned a better rhythm and just a slower, sort of more contained way of doing things. But, I feel like my younger career, like, my particularly my styling career, the pressure of working for a magazine and having to deliver was a very stressful period, Like I look back and think, God, you really put yourself through a lot. It was very stressful, but I feel like I was trying to get somewhere. I was trying to just get past that. I had to get past those nerves and the constant anxiety and the sleepless night before a shoot, all that stuff. And I got past it. And, now I'm much more confident in my decisions and abilities and things like that. But there's definitely always been that little voice that's sort of, insecurity.
Critical or negative.
It's critical. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You mentioned slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to ask you, working in magazines, like burnout is a real thing. Also starting and running a business, even in different guises, is definitely no walk in the park. So like have you had burnout? How have you dealt with it? And
like the burnout for me was sort of the end of working for the furniture brand. I realized that I just don't work well in that kind of environment. Like a big company with a lot of staff. And I think the worst thing is just sort of that sitting at a desk all day, feeling like I had to sit at my desk all day. Because everybody else was, And I thought, no, everyone else is at their desk. I've got to be here too. But it wasn't good. It wasn't good for me because like, I think that, as a creative, you're never not thinking about stuff. So you're taking it home, you're thinking about it all weekend. And some of the best ideas you have are
in the shower,
in the shower, in the middle of the night or whatever. It's always with you. And sitting at my desk every day from 9 to 5 was like the worst thing for me. And it just, it burnt me out. And also that idea of you sort of end up, because a big company, and not big, but big enough, big for me. It was a constant sort of what's creating and what's the next thing, and we've got to do this. And I sort of just started to feel, I don't know, I was just exhausted, constantly exhausted. And I got to a point where I felt like I just didn't have any good ideas anymore. And that was the worst part of it, was
Yeah.
sort of going, I think I've run out of ideas. So that's kind of what burnout was for me. It was that idea of like, oh my God, it is literally burnt out. You've burnt the part of your brain that comes up with the good stuff. And I did go through a period of sort of going, I think I'm done. I think I've just completely fried myself. And I had a few weeks off work and took some sick leave and went and did some ceramics. I was like, okay, what can I do to get myself back? So I went and did some, what's it called? The
Like hand rolling or
hand
coils?
No, not the coils. The one
wheel?
on the wheel
Throwing.
ceramics. Yes, throwing. And just got myself back into that pace of sort of doing something with my hands, and ceramics like that actually really takes you back to just being in the moment. And that was really good. But, from that whole process, what I did realize is I don't work well in that environment. And I work better really hard 3 days a week. And then on a Friday night, when I'm having a glass of wine after dinner, I'm like, oh, I just had a great idea, and I worked for 3 hours then. And then on a Sunday morning, so it's realizing that my sort of ebb and flow is not 9 to 5. It's never going to be. And that's just sort of something society has created, and I don't really fit into it.
Yeah.
Are you guys the same? Like, are you sort of...
Yeah.
Don't you feel like when the ideas come, they come? And then,
totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Just
Yeah,
find
definitely.
it.
I think, I've kind of built practices of creating the space, in the weekend at different times, and I get out. I run early in the mornings, which is a big processing time for me, and I'll just try and completely empty the mind, and then the solutions start to come. But also, I'm that person that's half asleep, finally getting to bed in the evening, and then it'll come, and I'll have to tap it all into a screen or scribble it on a piece of paper and hope that I can remember it the next morning.
Yeah.
Because that's the subconscious kind of chewing. But I've tried to build it in my work practice as well, so my colleagues will know if there's something that's coming up or something that I'm working with other people on, to get them to feed me the kind of the seeds of it as early as possible. Like even if I'm not involved for a month or more, it's like, just let me know, let me percolate, and then then pull the rabbit out of the hat when the deadline comes down the line, because I've been just chewing on it for a month or so.
Totally. And it's planting the seed, isn't it? I call it planting the seed as well. It is. It's like a little seed. Let me know, and then it'll come in and out. And don't you think it's funny when you've got a project, and then all of a sudden all these little things will start coming to you, whether it's on Instagram
Completely.
or you're like, oh, that'll be good for that, and that color's good, that could work really well. Like it just sort of starts, flowing through you.
Completely. Teams that I've worked with in the past always make fun of me because I don't know about you, but I file all these things up around wherever, and then I'll create completely random concoctions of, it's almost like kind of mixing a potion. It's a bit of that thing and a bit of that thing, a bit in the other.
It's alchemy.
And then of course these poor creatives who I work with, who I'm briefing in, then they go and look at all the source material and they're like, what are you talking about? It's none of those things. Like, no, but it's this. And then they're like, oh, okay, now we understand. But to me it makes sense. So,
I totally resonate with that for sure.
That's because you're visual, I think. I did have a flow state experience this week. I haven't written a Substack for months because I just haven't felt inspired. And then I wrote one in 30 minutes on the notes app on my phone on a train. I just read an article and I was like, I have to write it. And it just, when you have those moments of achieving flow state, genuinely,
it's the dream.
It feels like magic.
It is magic. I do think it's magic. I do. And as I've gotten older, I don't want to get too philosophical, but I do link all of this stuff to spirituality now as well. I feel like there's some flow, and it's like the ideas are out there, And you just have to get into that state to let them all go and let them
Channel
flow
it.
and
Yeah.
channel through you.
I mean,
And
we can go there. We can get spiritual. Like, Rick Rubin talks about it a lot.
love Rick, love
Flow
Rick.
state and
Mm,
being open, being an open
being
source.
open. Yeah, fully.
And so how do you protect your time now that you're in how you're working in Byron?
I still
you-
struggle. I struggle because I'm a parent as well,
Yeah.
and so when I'm home, I have another job to do, and it's a totally different job.
Mhm.
And
Even more important, you would say?
even more important
Yeah.
and more just sort of emotionally taxing as well. So it's that, looking after my emotional side and like it's stressful. It can be stressful being a parent. So there's that. I try to not, like I was saying before, work too much to a sort of 9 to 5 schedule. I only have myself now to think about. I have other sort of contractors that I work with, so I'm not in charge of anyone. So my output is sort of when I've got time, when I fancy doing it. And then I have 3 full days scheduled at the office. Like I do have office days.
Yeah.
And everything else just sort of has to slot in around those 3 days. But it is still a work in progress, and I feel like it's always going to be a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's never going to be perfect.
It might
And just
change
sort of-
as well. I guess it's like being open
That's true. That's
to the
right.
fluidity of just,
Yeah.
I don't know, adaptable.
Yeah. And then life
Um,
changes around you as well. So then you have to sort of
Absolutely.
adapt more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that
Mm.
thing. You are plugging into other systems. You are working with other relationships.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I'm interested. So you got your ideas back, which is amazing. Inspiration. Where do you draw inspiration from? Is it something that you have an intentionality around and then are open to and it finds you, or do you program it? How does that work for you?
I think now where I'm at, it's very much sort of I haven't designed anything in this material, so I want to try this. So it's quite material related these days. I mentioned to you guys before that I'm working with a local guy who is his company is called Avant Matter, and he makes his passion is creating materials that are, bio or recycled, or so he's doing this incredible stuff out of macadamia husks from the local area. There's a lot of macadamia farms. So he goes and gets the husks, he crushes them all down and makes this pulp, and then you can make stuff out of it. And then he also does these beautiful clear, almost looks like a clear PVC sort of thing. Tinted PVC out of fruit matter. It actually looks like fruit leather.
Oh, like roll-ups?
Like roll-ups. Looks like roll-ups.
Industrial roll-ups.
But it's strong like plastic. So you can make things out of it. Anyway, been working with him on a few things. They're the more practical parts of what I'm doing now. So I'm, trying to design products that are sort of locally made. Obviously, with Australian stuff, you have the constraints of sort of the cost of making things. It's very expensive. So we're trying to design really, really smartly so that we can still get it to the price points that we want in Australia.
Yep.
I would love to design a dining chair for like under $1,000.
Oh,
So there's
is it
a lot of-
possible?
It is possible. I think it's possible with being smart about it and the right materials, just trying to be clever about that. So at the moment, there's this very practical way of things that I'm doing that is inspiring me. And it's probably more about materials and who can make it and how we can make it. But then also in a broader sense of inspiration, for me, it's really about storytelling, and it's about alchemy, and it's about sort of the mood and the vibe and bringing all those things together to create something really cool that doesn't exist. So that's something I love as well, is making sure what I'm doing is my spin, and it's not a out there, and it doesn't exist, and it has a reason to exist.
Given so much of your work is around the home,
Yeah.
and how important is the ritual or the rituals of home to your storytelling process? Is it something that you consider the ritual or the experience of people living with these different facets? Like, say, for instance, you're talking about, bathrooms, lots of ritual there. Is that something that would feed
Yeah.
into your ideation?
Yeah. So at one stage, I was describing my my style as sensory minimalism. So there's definitely that
Nice.
idea of like, but it's a bit overused now, so I've stopped using it. but
So good, everyone used it.
yeah, but it is that idea of like the senses in a space and rituals and being a sensory kind of person myself. I love the way things feel is really important. So when you're talking about fabrics or how something feels to the touch when you sit on it, or how it feels to put your hands on a dining table. What does that feel like? There's certain materials that I just don't think you could use as on a dining table top. People, there's a very big trend at the moment for all the stainless steel kind of stuff. And I'm like, I couldn't think of anything worse, as much as it looks super cool, than sitting on a stainless steel dining table with my hands and sitting down a cup onto a stainless steel dining table and the noise it would make and things like that. So it's very much a sensory element to the way I think about things. And then I think it's also important, what does the space smell like? What does it sound like? How does it feel? How does it make you feel? How does it make people your friends, your family feel as well? And then also I think creating sort of, if you're talking more about forms and things, I love things that feel like, how do we kind of make things that feel more human? And the quickest and easiest way to do that, I think, is to make things beautiful and smooth and soft and more humanistic, which is, a lot of my furniture has turned out to be those big, soft, rounded kind of forms. I just think it's a really nice way to enjoy furniture when it's all smooth and soft and rounded.
It feels quite divergent, I think, because some of those, thinking of some of your seating you've designed over the years, very could be called quite modernist forms and kind of extruded geometry and that kind of thing. And yet it has a softness to it that feels like a counterpoint to a lot of the kind of classical modernist stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like it's funny because I'm trying to think about why I do things the way I do them, and it's always a hard place because it's like I don't until I really think about it, I don't know why I do it that way. But I mean, mid-century design and is very big inspiration for me, and I think sometimes if you take those cues from the beautiful kind of simplicity of design in that era, and then you bring in those softer, more larger sort of large scale forms. It's just a really good combination in design.
Well, that's like the past and the present sort of
Exactly.
question from earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I mean, that idea of the human touch. Would love to know your thoughts on AI and where it's going. I mean, at the moment, AI
God.
can design stuff, but it can't go out and produce it in a factory. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
I
what's
mean,
your
I think
take?
like it changes constantly my take on AI. At first, I was super excited because I thought, you know what, this is going to make good creatives even more valuable. Like it's just going to start, scraping from all of this sort of generic design but that makes sort of, I feel like, us more valuable because we're the ones that can really sort of put across a very unique point of view that I don't think AI will ever be able to. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have a very fully formed idea on AI just yet. I
mean, I think we're all in the same boat.
we're all a bit like, I don't know, where is it going to go? What's going to happen? I don't know.
Well, it certainly can't make like sensory tactile things yet. So will it ever? I don't think so. So
I don't know.
you never know
Yeah.
though, so I shouldn't.
Yeah,
You
I guess
never
there's so
know.
much synthesis though, like, as you were saying, Sarah, that scraping scraping the visual ephemera, but then the human, the perception, even prior perception of texture, space, encounter, experience, like those kind of concepts feel innately biological to a certain degree. It feels very
Exactly.
hard to synthesize those and then have a point of view.
Yeah.
And it'd
I
feel
think
more
it's probably
incongruent in a
going to
way.
take longer
Yeah.
in our industry for it to be anything valid, hugely valid, I hope. I don't know. I can't imagine how it's going to help me. Like I haven't worked out how all I can see is it taking over. But how is it going to help me? I don't know yet. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to come back and record a follow-up when we've all got the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we could get our AI avatars to do it for us after we've
Yeah.
been removed.
I would love to know, if you had to give yourself some advice, like, get a little in the fantasy world, you could go back and give little Sarah some advice from the future. What would you say?
I'd go, like honestly, like what I've done and the life that I have created for myself, if I ever thought I could create this 25 years ago, then I should have just stopped worrying so much. Like it's all that insecurity when you're young and you think you're just trying so hard to make something and to build and to be someone. And I think I'd just tell myself not to worry so much.
Good advice.
Yeah. And the journey is the best part as well. It's not even the destination. It's the journey and the process of it all. All the people you meet along the way and the teams you work in and and even working with like designing a product and putting my name on it, there's been 10 people involved in that thing, So it's those relationships and that's the best part.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned networking right at the top. And obviously throughout your career there's been lots of collaboration and relationships, as you say. So like how have those changed over time, or what have you learnt along the way?
I've learned that I actually love working in a team. Like I really do. I miss those days in magazines where I was working in a big creative team with so many different sort of dynamics. And yeah, I don't know. I think that the networks that I built sort of early on in my career are really paying off now still. So it's a very important. You know what's crazy though as well? We don't do that much anymore. Like apparently nobody's going to events and things.
Yeah, I've heard this. That's like the
Yeah.
gold. That's where you meet people and doors open.
Exactly. And just being face to face. I think everyone's so used to kind of doing it on their phone that no one's going to events anymore, which is crazy. Like I loved an event back in the day. I still love an event, but like
some free bubbles and
yeah, exactly. It's such an important part of the process, the people that you meet. And you can't create those vibes over a screen or on Instagram. It is that the vibes that you create when you're meeting people face to face. You're like drawn towards you're drawn towards certain people, and they're like, I like that person. I feel like I want to work more with them. And we got on, like there's all of those sort of vibes. They're very important, natural human things that I think we're slowly losing. It's just sad.
Yeah, agreed. How often do things come out of the blue from people that you know or feel that you can work with, or there's a creative trust there, even though you didn't meet because you were doing a job interview for something or because you had a project to work on. You just met because you had an interesting chat, or you thought this stuff was really cool, or those organic moments of connection, which we do in our work with ideas. Makes complete sense. I mean, there's some really interesting writers about creativity that do their thing on connections, and if we don't build connections at every level, then creativity suffers. And you can't, like you were just saying before, with teams as well, the opportunity of groups of people to have a larger outcome, a bigger impact, whatever it might be. But it works from the brain all the way out. We're as human beings, we've got to connect. Otherwise we
Totally.
don't thrive.
Yeah. It's almost like we're all going in the opposite direction of that as well. You know, like I just feel like it is so important, and it's, I don't know, sad.
Well, as a opposite of that, what word I was trying to say
Antithesis?
there. Antithesis. If you could design something that would bring people together, or a dream project, what would it be? Because you do design spaces as well.
Yes, yeah. Like I just sort of started I've always done a lot of sort of residential sort of furniture styling and decoration, things like that. And in the last couple of years, we've done a few restaurants up here, the Light Years restaurants, which have been really exciting, actually. Great clients. One of those dream briefs, actually, where they're just like, love everything you do, and the budget's really good, and like that's been a really great experience. We've had a lot of good feedback from those, and they've been quite successful. But a dream project would probably be like a little boutique hotel, something like that. For the restaurants that we've done, actually, we did which clients don't often do. We got to do the furniture as well, so custom furniture throughout.
Nice.
So when you've got that sort of, top to bottom, whole interior, and all of the furniture, it's like total control freak's dream. You get to do everything. So it would be really nice to do a boutique hotel with all custom furniture and interiors. That would be a little dream.
I guess, are you designing a toilet with the bathroom collection?
Wait, actually, that's a good point. There actually is some amazing toilets out there at the moment. There's this company called Trove doing incredible toilets. Have you seen them?
No, but I'm going to look it up.
Trove, so good. Like these cool, like a bit Memphis looking in all these different colours. A toilet isn't on the list, but
no, I mean, there's a cost per use.
Totally.
What would you design that would bring people together? A toilet?
But you know what? They're also boring. They're always the same, aren't they? And they're always white. There's definitely a space for good toilets.
Whether or not that's what you put your name to or not.
Exactly.
That can just be out there for anyone to take.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, amazing. Well, do you have any other questions, David? Or do you want to ask our final question?
Oh, I mean, I've got lots of questions. I feel like we could do this all afternoon. But I am also looking forward to the final question. So, Sarah, we ask every guest. Well, we've given you a little bit of preparation, we should say, for those listening. We don't just fire this question at you.
Well, no,
also.
actually, I didn't send
good.
Sarah the pre-production.
Does Sarah know what the last question is?
Talking about waking up in the middle of the night. I woke up last night at 4 a.m. was like... and I apologetically sent a quick email this morning, but I
did send it. No, you did send it to me this morning, so I did get a chance to think about it. I have,
but not a lot,
briefly.
Okay, well, that's probably the right amount of time.
No, it's good. It's
we
good.
do have
Don't
people that have
overthink
stewed
it.
on it for weeks.
Yeah, no.
coming into it.
I'm better
Anyway,
if I can't think of
Off the cuff.
overthink it. Yeah.
Well, I was on a nice little kind of ramp up to the motorcycle going over the buses then, but that's all right. We'll park it. So, Sarah Ellison, if you had the opportunity to design your death, and you can interpret that however you would like, what would you do?
So when I thought about this, I was like, God, I could go two ways. I could literally do the most dramatic, elaborate, styled, art directed, like front cover, death, funeral, everything. I would get a friend of mine in Sydney who does incredible flowers, Jai from Hermetica, to find me some ridiculous rose that is from Nicaragua and is black and just do incredible flowers. I'll have the casket designed by Lex Williams, a gorgeous local, timber designer, and have some local DJ play. I don't know, but I could go completely elaborate. Or, which is probably more likely, it would be very humble, and it would be you can get these recycled big boxes and like caskets essentially. And you just go down into the earth and you become organic matter, and you could just plant a beautiful tree on top, and I'd be happy with that too. So like, it says a lot about my personality.
I love it.
Yeah, a
Confused.
duality there.
There's duality. There's a lot of duality. The best thing in the world, or is it just this very humble thing?
Or
It's probably
flat
just
pack.
a humble thing. The flat pack. I'm happy with the recycled flat pack.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, one
Yeah.
would be a moment or an event, and the other would be something that lives on, like a
Yeah.
tree is.
Well,
something-
exactly. Has to be
Yeah.
under a beautiful big tree for sure.
Mm.
Oh, that's
Amazing.
beautiful and elegant and symbiotic and nice.
Oh, Sarah, it's been so lovely chatting with you and hearing how you are just the ultimate creative's creative.
Thanks, Alicia. Hope I don't sound too crazy.
No, not at
No,
all.
we're
That's
all
what I was
crazy
saying.
here.
Oh, that's what I was saying to you guys. I actually love listening to your podcast. There's a few people in particular. Like I love listening to Tom Blatchford, and I love listening to Stephen John Clark. Is that his
Yeah.
at home?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, they're my people.
we need to do an in-person event, I think, and get
That
all
would
the
be so
creatives
good.
together.
That would be so good. Well, Tom Blatchford and I are friends now because of your
Oh.
podcast. I was like, loved your podcast, and now we're little Instagram friends.
Oh,
fab.
I love
Yeah.
Tom. I
You
love
can chat
that.
ceramics now as well. I see that he's
Doing
thrown
3D
himself
printed
into the wheel.
vases.
Well,
Yeah.
watch this space.
Oh, hello.
Oh.
Didn't expect an exclusive. That's good. And then Steve can carve a table to put it on, and we'll all be good.
Totally. We'll all be happy.
Beauty.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Enjoyed
Thank
that so much.
you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
You've been listening to Creative or Dead. This episode was recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri and Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and we would like to pay respects to elders past and present, extending that acknowledgement to all First Nations and Indigenous peoples around the world.
If you've enjoyed listening to this episode, you can find many more like it on whatever platform you get your podcasts. And if you've really enjoyed it, please feel free to leave us a review or to share it with someone that you think might find it interesting.